Hey there! So, you may be wondering why you're getting a tutorial on a Wednesday instead of a Friday. The reason being, I'm going to be down in Atlanta helping out with Flame Festival on Wednesday night, Thursday, and Friday, and I'm going to be out of Wi-Fi range. So in order to make sure that I get a video up for you guys, it's going up on Wednesday instead. I hope you don't hold that against me. Next week, we're going back to the regular schedule. Now, today's tutorial is on cat eyes. And a quick disclaimer here, even though this is a tutorial that was requested on the comment section in one of my previous videos, I don't really consider this to be a beginner move. I would definitely consider this to be more intermediate or advanced. That said, I totally grok that learning curves have changed a lot since I first started learning, and you know, this may be exactly up your alley as you're learning. If not, no worries, in the coming weeks I will be uploading more tutorials on more basic stuff. But today's tutorial on cat eyes begins with the idea of what a cat eye is. Essentially, a cat eye is an attempt to create an ellipse with the poi head, even as the hand is moving around a circular path. The hand itself is moving around a path the same size as it would be if it were performing an isolation. An isolation, of course, being one of those circles that's created when the hand and the poi head are both moving around the same circle. They kind of look like they're moving around at split time same direction, right? You can think of a vertical cat eye as being the hand and the poi moving around in same time opposites instead. And what that does is it creates a very long skinny ellipse with the poi head while the hand is moving around an isolation size circle. There are some who will argue that this is one of, if not the most basic unit of anti-spin. I'm not going to get into that debate right now, but I will say that if you're familiar with having worked on anti-spin, it definitely feels like it has some qualities in common with it. How do you get there? Well, to start with, you're going to begin with your poi head pointed straight down, body center. Your hand is going to be just above it, and you're going to snap your hand up to its native shoulder, and you're going to try and get the poi head up to the opposite shoulder. So notice as I'm like pulling out here, I'm trying to get to this nice horizontal place where hand and poi are even with my shoulders, right? When I'm done getting to that place, I'm going to drop both of them back down center line. And the poi head, of course, is going to go lower than my hand. I'm going to work on this until it feels comfortable. And then I'm going to try going the opposite direction. That is, I'm going to try and get my hand even with my left shoulder, poi head even with my right shoulder. It doesn't matter which hand of yours is dominant. It doesn't matter which is your direction of spin. You're going to want to learn both of these. They become important in just a little while. Notice because I'm reaching across my body, this one's a little bit more awkward. That's totally fine though. Now, once you've got both of those, and remember my definition of having got it is that you can do it 10 times in a row without having any problems, you're going to try bouncing back and forth between them. Since each of these moves returns back down to body center after completing it, you're going to use that body center position to switch between these two. You're going to make the poi head in your hand bounce up and down. And you'll notice I'm doing this each time I'm aiming to get the poi head in my hand even with my shoulders. Whoop. This can feel really awkward, but it can also look kind of cool. Once you have that down, it's time to work on getting your hand underneath the poi head as it moves above. Here's how you get there. My dominant direction of spin happens to be with my hand going around counterclockwise and the poi head going around clockwise, right? So for me, I'm going to work to get my poi head going over when my hand is even with my right shoulder. How this works for you will totally be dependent on what your dominant direction of spin is. Try it both ways. Now, as I'm bouncing back and forth, when I get to that point where my right hand is even with my right shoulder, I'm going to give the poi head a quick snap with my hand, and as it goes up, I'm going to rush my hand underneath it such that when the poi head comes down, it's even with my right shoulder, and my hand is over on my left shoulder. Once again, as I bounce my right hand over to my right shoulder, I'm going to give it a quick flick and try and scoop my hand underneath the poi head while it's up in the air. You can think of this as being when in old movies there's that booby trap where the boulder is rolling down to flatten the hero. He finds something too narrow for the boulder to get into and manages to run straight past the boulder while it's on top of him. It's that same kind of idea. I'm rushing underneath the poi head there. And of course, once you get your hand over to the opposite side, this is a position that you're used to being in, so you can drop it straight down to your body center. So you can go back and forth between that bouncing place and then giving the poi head the flick to get it over and going back to the bouncing place. So flick, bounce. Flick, bounce. Flick, bounce. Yeah? And of course you can try it both ways. Flick, bounce. Flick, bounce. Once you're really comfortable with that, you can try just going continuously in the same direction. And as I'm working on this, I'm visualizing my hand becoming even with my right shoulder and my left shoulder, and vertically working between my nose and my sternum. And that usually gives me a circle that's roughly the right size. And that's all there is to it. That's the cat eye. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I will be back with another tutorial for you guys next Friday, so have yourselves a great week. And for those of you who are coming down to Atlanta, I will be seeing you shortly. Peace.